Hi everyone and welcome back to Chess for Charity. In this video, I'm going to show you a super cool puzzle where it is white to move and win. So if you just take a second and look at this, it looks a little scary for white. Black has a queen, a king, and this pawn going down the board, and white has this pair of h-pawns and it's really not too fast. So your job is to find out how to win this game for white. So take a second here. I think you can really improve your calculation skills if you take a puzzle like this seriously. So I'd recommend maybe 30 seconds, a minute. See how far you can get in your calculations and consider as many variations as possible. While you're doing that, let me quickly encourage you to subscribe if you have not yet already. Half of the income that I earn in this channel goes directly to charity, so every like, every subscriber helps us out so much. Okay, so let's get started here. So you might be looking for some kind of fork, right? When I first saw this, a move that came to mind was something like rook b1, and maybe if the king walks here, I can try to do some fancy kind of fork. It doesn't really work because in this case, you don't have to obviously you don't have to take this or anything. You can just move out of the way, king here, right? There's no threat. Eventually the checks run out, something like this, and you'll have both pieces under attack, and there's no stalemate either because these pawns are always mobile, at least one of them. So that kind of thought quickly can be ignored, rook b1, and the other thought, rook c3, the other check, is worth looking into. And other moves like a knight move, right? All these moves doesn't really do anything. This move you might think does something because maybe you're blocking the queen's sight of this square, but remember, they don't have to go this way. Instead, they can go that way. So they can play queen h8 check, and you're actually going to lose very quickly. Pretty much this, according to a computer, right, if you want to prolong it. Okay, so what's the idea? Well, the first move is made by the rook. So if you want a hint, there's your hint. Okay, what is the first move? So now's your last chance if you want to just pause the video. So the first move is rook c3 check. Now, just already you should be able to calculate, where can the king go? Well, only one square, king a4. And now, this is kind of the crux of the puzzle. Now, if you see this in a puzzle, you probably just see the answer immediately. But if you're just given this in a game, chances are it's a little harder to see. So, you'll notice that the king is on a somewhat vulnerable square to checks. So, this queen has a lot of flexibility. She can go here, 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 on this 8th rank, on this diagonal, a lot of freedom. Can't go there. Okay. So even though the queen has all that freedom, I can play rook c8. What? I can play rook c8. Now, what is this move doing? Well, this move says, if you take my rook, you're going to get hit with a fork. Excellent. Now, that's not just the point. The point is, what happens if they don't take it? Because there are lots of options. We just showed all the options. Well, really quickly, if they go to any of these squares, let's just talk about the obvious. Here, here, here. They just get captured right away. So really they have, and of course these squares as well. They have a couple of squares that they can go to. Here is completely protected and safe. This one on d7 is completely safe. And they can, of course, capture the pawn on h4. Let's look at these green squares one by one. So if they capture on h4, may seem like that's a good idea. Here's a cool thing. Knight c4 check. A fork. Look at this. You might say, what happens if the king moves? You just take the queen, right? The point is that if the queen is captured, if the queen captures, you have knight check, the king moves, and look at this. Push, 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 and you are in time. You can play something like, I don't know, I'll probably play this. Here, here. It all works. Okay, so you cannot take that pawn. That's what we established. Okay, what other options were there? Well, there is this one, d7. This one's a little bit more obvious, I would think. If you play knight d7, your king and your queen are on the same color, which is a little scary when there's a knight around, and knight can hit knight b6 with a big fork. After the king moves, you take it. Not difficult to win at all. Okay, what about the other options? Are there any other options? We just said there's one more. Queen A5. Now another super cool move. Do you see it? Same theme as the other two. Rook A8. After the queen captures, you get another fork. Look at the different ways that this knight can fork the king and the queen. Amazing. And just like before, take, and even though, by the way, even though that's check, you just take it. And then there's no rush here. They can push. Look, you're always a little bit faster. Looks scary, but there's no fear. Bang. They move, you take this, no stalemate. Super cool. So in this initial position, were you able to see the entire variation? Maybe you thought about this move right away, but unfortunately this does not work because they can take it. And now there's no fork. So you have to instead first create the condition which gets them on the white square, and then look for this. And like I said, no other options. Here, here, and here are the only ones that don't fall to an immediate fork or just a straight capture. So yeah, that is it for the video. If you enjoyed it, let me know. Be sure to like and subscribe. That stuff helps us out so much. But yeah, thank you so much. Bye.